Is it love? Is it love, baby? I should've never.
My name is Chilekwa Chipulus.
My name is Lunda Chipulus.
We met at work, actually. It was not love at first sight.
I wasn't even her type. I wasn't.
Okay.
But I am now.
Yes, but you are now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what happened?
Well, we met at work. It's one of those things where, you know, when you start a new work at a new place, it's, you know, you're new there and, you know, you're like, I just started a new job. I just want to know people. And obviously, you don't, you know, eat where you work, yeah, stuff like that. So it's a situation where even when I saw her, it wasn't like, wow, that girl. No, it was, oh, interesting. She has nice hairstyles. Just like that. What was your impression of me?
I also wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at the time. I literally just went and joined a new company. I was new in Lusaka, and I think I was at the company for about 3 months. And like 3 months later is when I noticed he actually works with me. It was quite a big company. And the first thing I noticed about you is that you are very loud, like very noisy. So my first impression was like, why is he so loud? Like, why is he so noisy? But besides the noisiness, I feel like you had a great personality. So, so yeah, that's what made me find you interesting.
I was loud because I'm short. People have to hear me before they see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where, you know, you met at the office and then I think we hung out once outside the office.
Yeah, we happened to meet somewhere outside the office.
Unplanned.
Yeah, unplanned, bumped into each other, and then he invited me over to his table. He was with his friends, and then it was a very good night. We got to chatting, danced a little, and then I thought that was the end. Like, you know, it's just one of those situations where you meet and, you know, but then I also imagined that, you know, when I get back to the office on Monday, everything will go back to normal. He's just that guy in the office, and we're not going to interact again. And
yeah, but you know, for us guys, you know, and you know, the one thing is I keep telling people is, you know, the way love works, it's not, it won't happen when you plan it. You can't wake up today and say, hey, today I'm going to fall in love. No. It literally comes like insanity, and for me, that's why it was literally insanity. You know, one of those situations where you talk to somebody, but just for that same brief interaction, you find they've ticked 90% of your boxes. And then now you're there confused. You're like, but what's with this person? Like, what does this person have that these other people don't have? And you know, it's one of those things where you're talking to her, but you're still talking to other people, but you'd rather see her message or her phone call than anyone else's. So it was one of those things. Like, for me, I still say it's insanity, man, because till date, I can't say this is when I fell in love or I was dreaming. No, it's one of those things. I was just like, what's with this? Like,
what is it about
What
her?
is it about her? Like, what is it about her?
Yeah, I remember a colleague asked me as well, like, would you date him? You know, because of course, one thing I forgot to mention is that night when we obviously hit it off and we hung out, a lot of people from our workplace were also there, and they observed that there was some chemistry, I guess. So I had moved on, but one of my colleagues came and said like, oh, we heard you guys hit it off that day, and then she went on to ask me like, would you date him? And I said, no, absolutely not. He's not my type. He's too short. Yeah, he's not my type. He's too short. And she said, okay, take that away. Take away the shortness. Take away him not being your type. Would you date him? I said, absolutely, because he's got an amazing personality. And
So in the end, I won. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he had, like I mentioned, his personality is very shiny and bright. So he had the best personality I had ever seen from my previous boyfriends. And all of them were super tall. And one day I looked at him, I said, actually, if he was an inch taller, maybe this personality wouldn't even be there. So yeah, that's what changed. And every time we'd hold a conversation, it would just keep going, and it was the most natural thing ever. Yeah.
It's a situation where you don't have to try. Like it's natural. Like you're just flowing. It's not forced. You can literally start a conversation about this carpet, and you'll be talking about the carpet for about an hour or so. You know, it was one of those things where you didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? But yes.
So I want to say about a month and a half to 2 months after we had that interaction where we met outside the office. We had that interaction, let me say, beginning of July, and our official date, like official day of dating, was the 12th of August, 2016. So,
yes, I actually knelt down.
Oh yeah, he actually knelt down.
Knelt down for this woman twice.
Yeah.
Both proposals.
So I remember the dates. So the first boyfriend proposal was 12th August 2016, and then the marriage proposal was, no, it was the 23rd of March 2019.
Oh, the proposal.
Yes.
Oh, that was even that date.
Yeah. Okay, so how our families responded. It was not well received, because we were coming from two different religious backgrounds, and for my family, I think the worry, without stating my religious background, where I came from was a religion where you are not allowed to marry outside your faith. You are only allowed to marry within your faith. Yes, so my family hearing that I'm dating someone who is not from the same faith as I was not easy for them to deal with, yeah.
From your end?
Well, for me, they were happy. It's one of those things, like for me and my family, I never really introduced them to anyone, because I was never really that serious about somebody. So even when I introduced her to my family, it was one of those where they were very happy. They were actually shocked that I actually brought someone, and they were like, oh, okay.
So the day of the proposal, I never saw it coming. And at the time, we had just come out of a bad place in our relationship, such a bad place that we almost even went our separate ways. So, however, despite that, I felt like it happened at the perfect time. Any time sooner wouldn't have been perfect, and any time later wouldn't have been perfect. That was the perfect time. So what had happened is it was disguised as a friend's birthday party. So she had invited us for a party, and the annoying thing about that party invitation was that she had so many parties that month. So she had, I think her birthday was in the middle of the week, so she had a bride before her birthday, before the actual date, and then she was proposing we have another party right after, like for the next weekend, so this weekend and the other weekend. So I remember I didn't attend the first one, and then when she invited us for the second one, she invited me specifically for the second one, she said, I need you to help me plan my birthday this weekend. And I'm like, why does she insist that we should have so many parties? Yeah. So she called me sometimes during the week, and this friend happens to be his best friend, one of his very close friends. And she also played a very key role in keeping us together, yeah. So she asked me, like, help me plan my birthday. Where do you think I should have it? I basically planned my own proposal because I suggested the venue, I suggested what we should do, whether it should be themed or not. So she asked me all those questions. And she told me, please dress nice. I'm coming to pick you up. Do you have transport to get where you're going? Okay, I'll come pick you up on the day. So that day, something just told me, girl, wear heels. I'm not even the heels type of girl. I'm always sneakers and whatever, but something told me, comb your hair, wear heels, put on makeup, like just look good. So that's what I did. And then I was picked up by my friend. We ended up at this venue. The venue is closed now. We're really sad about it. But it was a roller skating place, near the showgrounds, I think. Yeah, the roller skating place. So we went there, and I was waiting for him to arrive, so I was just skating away. And then eventually, it's now time for her birthday celebration, sing happy birthday and cut the cake. So after that, she comes, she calls the crowd's attention, and then she says, okay guys, I'd like each of you to tell me one thing you like about me, since I brought all of you here today. So she went, it was going around in a circle, and you know, we were just telling her nice things about her. And then she asked, oh no, she told him like, oh no, I think you should go last, meaning him. So finally it got to his turn. It got to his turn to speak. And I don't remember what happened. I don't even remember if he said anything to her. I don't remember. Everything's kind of blurry from there. But next thing he just said, okay, and I would also like to appreciate someone who's been very key in my life. And then next thing, the speech is now being directed to me. So yeah. And he says, oh, please come closer. So I go and stand right next to him. At this point, I can't remember the exact words. All I saw was phones coming out, flashes turning on, people taking pictures. And the next thing, he gets on his knees and he asks me to be his wife.
So let's see, that period of time, I was actually going for rehearsals for a friend of mine's wedding. So even when I was planning the proposal, I was thinking of a lot of things. But the one thing is, it's very hard for me to deceive her. So most of the times when I'm planning to surprise her with things, I usually forget, or I usually get caught. So that's why I had to hide it in something else. So on that day, I had my rings. I even told my one of the friends who played the best man to hold the rings for me. He's the one who kept them for me. And then I even organized everything, and I was nervous that day because I was hoping the ring, I wasn't sure if it would fit or not, but I got the measurements she mentioned and whatnot. And yeah, we got to the venue, found her there, we even skated, hung out, and then, yeah, the moment came, and for me, I couldn't see anyone else, it was just her, and at that point, I was just like, please let the ring fit, like, let it fit. That was my biggest thing, and let her say yes. I mean, obviously, even before I planned the proposal, I had a feeling she'd say yes, but, you know, there's always that 1%. That, you know, should say no. So even there was all that in my head. So I just gathered my courage, swallowed whatever I needed to swallow, and knelt down, asked her to marry me.
And the ring got stuck briefly.
It didn't get stuck. It
got stuck like right here.
That wasn't stuck. That was like your skin, uncanny.
Okay. We got. So after the engagement, the wedding came 1 year, 6 months after, which was not the plan because we initially wanted to get married just a year after, but COVID happened. So we eventually got married a year and 6 months after the proposal.
Yo.
So if I had it my way, wedding preps, if I had it my way, I would have done my own hair for my wedding, but my family kept telling me, please, you need to rest and you just need to, you know, delegate and have that day just special and all that. So I delegated, but one thing for sure, I wore my own hair to my wedding. I wore my natural hair on my wedding day. And then with regards the dress, I was very small at the time. I still am, but I was much smaller than I am now. And I knew for a fact I'm not entering any bridal shop to buy the dress. I'm having it made, so I had it tailor-made. Yeah.
Yo, you know, like, you know those movies where, you know, slow motion, shine lights, it was like that, you know, just, it was unbelievable, you know what I mean? Like, you're seeing this person and she's yours, you know what I mean? Like, I get to spend the rest of my life with this person, and she was there looking amazing, and she's coming for me, and, I just, you know, I've never felt more important.
So my motto for my wedding day was, as long as there's a man, my man, at the end of the aisle, you can drag me there in a wheelbarrow, nothing else mattered. Even if I was just in my normal clothes, as long as my husband-to-be was at the end of the aisle. So the first thing I did when I started walking down the aisle was just take a peek to check if my husband is actually the one coming at the end of the aisle. And when I saw him, I said, yeah. Nothing else matters. In that moment, nothing else mattered. I just wanted him. So it was amazing.
Yeah, and the problem is, it's one of the COVID weddings, so you couldn't even invite the people that you wanted to be there. But in the end, we really just, because we already postponed it the first time, so this time we just wanted to get married and just start our lives together.
Yeah, I remember his first words when he saw me. That's before he even unveiled me. He just looked and he's like, wow. I remember that part. Yeah.
Something memorable.
3 weeks before our wedding, he got sick and he was admitted to UTH for a minor operation. And it was a simple surgery, but I still, I still had that thing, like, what if he doesn't make it out? And I said, God, are you trying to make me a widow even before I'm married, I remember sitting by the bedside while he was in theater and just praying and said, Lord, I know that this is not what you have planned for us, and we've been through so much just for it to end like this. And that's, for me, I was just, I just spent my time by the bedside just praying and hoping he's going to be okay. I feel like that was a key moment, I know, I tell myself, I know he's annoying, but can he annoy me for the rest of my life? Yeah, that was it for me.
Something memorable, pre-wedding. What can I say? Chilanga was pretty great. Even though I wasn't at my full health, but I enjoyed that because at least I got to see a lot of family members that didn't come to the wedding, so it was nice. I enjoyed that a lot.
We've been married 3 years, and it will be 4 years in August.
Okay. You want to take this one?
I can, but you can also say on your part, our friendship.
Yeah.
We are really good friends, and I think that above everything is what has kept us going.
Like, trust, you need to be friends. I mean, you need to be friends. Because, sometimes, the one thing I realized about relationships is, especially on guys' side, is we stop trying at a lot of times. You stop trying, you become comfortable because you already have the woman. So it's a situation where, even as a boyfriend, I wasn't the best boyfriend. But I even said, I said this to God, like, when she becomes my wife, I will treat her like my wife. And I try my best to do that. I'm not perfect, but I do try my best to do that. But I think one of the things as well is on the guy's part, if you stop trying, it all dies. It's an everyday thing. You don't do marriage on automatic. You do it every day. You wake up in the morning and choose this person every day.
Well, my faith journey is quite new now because obviously I had to leave my old faith, and it wasn't because of him. Contrary to popular belief, I chose this journey myself. And since I'm quite new on this journey, in my previous faith journey, I was very embarrassed of who I was. I was so embarrassed to share my faith because I just didn't feel like I belonged there. And so I couldn't firmly stand on my beliefs. But after making this transition, I'm a lot happier and more proud, to the point where I don't care what people think of what I believe, but as long as it's something I enjoy doing. So I've actually been taking people along through my faith journey, just showing little snippets of, my faith and how I do my devotions, or I do that mostly on TikTok. So I recently shared my baptism because I got baptized like a month ago, just over a month ago. And yeah, yeah, I'm still growing at it, but yeah, it's a journey I'm very excited to share actually. So it's an ongoing thing, and together we do have plans with regard to faith and marriage. So we are working on something. I believe that he's been supportive from day one. When I decided to get into social media, it was a shock to a lot of people. I don't know, but they never saw it coming. So he never questioned it from the beginning. Of course, it was also a shock to him because I didn't really tell him in detail. I didn't tell him in detail what I was planning to do, but he always supported me. And one day, I just looked him straight in the face and said, I want to take this social media thing very seriously, and I also want to quit my job and become a hairdresser full-time. What do you think of that? And he looked me in the face, in the eye, and said, if I didn't know your potential, I would have stopped you, but I believe that you can do it. So if you want to quit your job today, you can go ahead and do it. And yeah, I handed in my resignation that very week, and he's been very supportive. And on top of that, he is now at a point where he left his circular job to support mine. So we're currently both in the hair business together. So he's been my number one support system. It's amazing. Two things I appreciate about him: his personality. I've mentioned his personality so many times here, but I appreciate it. I appreciate him. He is such a people person, and you know, when we're in a group of people, I always worry, like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? But he's always that person who will really make sure there's something to talk about and something to do. I really appreciate that. I don't have to worry about awkward silences when he's around, so that's amazing. Another thing, I love how he loves me. I've literally learned God's grace through my husband. I have seen it. He's truly a reflection of God's love for me. I know God loves me because of the husband that he gave me.
I appreciate her strength. She's a very self-sustaining woman. And for most guys, that's actually very intimidating because, you know, as a guy, women might not know this, but we want to be wanted. It's a normal thing. Every guy wants to be wanted. And then now you meet this woman who is okay not, you know, but, you know, and then, you know, where you actually get to, you know, use your strength and hers. And yeah, it's a situation where she's my partner, should I say. So I love that about her. And the second thing I love about her is I get to be myself. I don't need to pretend. I don't need to dumb it down. I don't need to hide certain things from her. No. When I'm around her, I'm myself, all goofy, all loud, all noisy. She loves every aspect of me. That I appreciate, that I love.
Has there ever been a time when you almost gave up on each other?
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Definitely, there was a time when we almost gave up on each other, which is the period I mentioned just before the proposal. We were not patient with each other at the time, and we met when we were very young. I was 22 and he was 26 when we met. And so obviously we grew up together, basically. We went through changes and phases together. I went through a period where during our dating, I lost my father. And in the very same year, just a few months later, I lost my immediate older brother. So it was a very tough time for me. My husband happens to be an orphan. He lost both parents when he was very young, at the age of 10. So he didn't know how to handle grief as an adult, because even as a child, he was, you know, he was quite numb from it, because being a child, you don't really understand grief at the time. So I was very angry with him because I said, you are someone who's coming from this. That's my thought process, but as someone who's coming from this past, you should understand what I'm going through now. But looking at it in hindsight, there's no way he could have understood that. But there were so many things besides that were just clashing with us. And for me, I was just at that point, because I'm grieving and all that is happening, if he's just not being a good boyfriend at this time, my solution was always, okay, let's just call it quits. Let's just cut it.
Yeah, I think for me, the same period she's talking about, but I think on my part it was, since I've started dating her, there's a lot of things I've learned and grown from. One thing I realized, even when we were dating, is I wouldn't validate her complaints. You know, one of those things, especially us guys, we don't really, we don't see things from a female perspective. So even when you're complaining about certain things, we don't see it as a big deal. I'm like, why is she complaining about it? It's like a small thing. You know, why does she keep complaining about that? So I became that guy. So it was a situation where instead of listening and seeing where she's coming from and where that complaint or that pain is coming from, I wasn't doing that. So it's a situation where we weren't listening to each other. And then also I got into that comfortability where I have her, she's mine. No one's going to take her. We've been dating for a while. So, you know, and because of that, that's the time I learned you can't do a relationship on autopilot. You actually need to hold the steering and you drive it. You can't, yeah.
Okay, lessons I've learned, lesson learned in a journey, in our journey together, is love is definitely a choice that you have to make every single day, because I will not sit here and say that there are not men that are more attractive than my husband, or who have larger pockets than my husband, but every day when I walk out there, I'm faced with temptation, or I'm faced with, you know, the choice to just look for something better. But every day I decide to choose him, and choosing him makes it more worth it. And even despite everything that we go through, we look into our past and just look at everything that we've been through, and I say, wow, I really truly love this person, because with everything that we've been through, I've still chosen this person. And he has chosen me too. So yeah, it's definitely a choice. That's a lesson I've learned, and it's an intentional choice. Yeah.
Well, the same one she said, but also there's something called the 80-20 rule. So 80-20 rule basically works like, so in your relationship, you're getting 80% of what you need. But when you go outside, you find that 20% that you're not getting from your relationship. And then most people, that's how you find guys having my side items and whatnot, because that 20% that you're missing at home is what you want outside. But the one thing I've learned is that 20% is not worth losing the 80%. And people are, not everyone's replaceable, should I say. I don't think I'll ever find a woman that has the combination of things that she has anywhere. I can find a woman who's better looking, more successful, but they'll never have what she has. So because of that, yeah, that keeps me level, tries to keep me sane, because yeah, this is Lusaka.
So we're both from the Copper Belt. Yeah, that's one of them, Mwaiche. Like we're both from, no, I'm not from the Copper Belt, but I spent most of my time there. So when he just goes all Kopala on me, or Bemba, when he just, yeah. So I love to hear that. And I love it when he affirms me, because sometimes I can be hard on myself. So when he just affirms me and just tells me that, you know, you look beautiful, you're really smart. Like he reminds me each and every day of what he likes about me. So I like to hear that from him. Exactly, I like hearing that too.
And she calls me dead.
Really?
Okay, no. What I like hearing from her. It's a lot. It's not one thing. It's a combination of things. It's, you wake up next to her, she's happy to see you. It's a lot of things. Sorry, I can't pick one thing, but it's a lot.
Rule number 1, do not go to bed. You don't say it at the same time?
Do not go to bed angry.
And do not let an argument cross over to the next day.
You have to resolve it there and then. If you have to give yourself time, give yourself time. But sort it out that day. Don't go weeks without talking to it. No.
And sleep in the same room.
No
matter what.
Sleep in the same room.
Sleep in the same room, yeah.
Yeah, and just never let the argument reach the next day.
Yes. What would I tell someone who's worried about marrying a short man? So, actually, interestingly, shortly after our wedding, we were posted on one of these popular wedding pages in Zambia, and someone actually came to my inbox and said, "Hi, I know we don't know each other, but I'd like to ask you something." And she goes ahead and asks, I'm currently dating a short man. I've been dating him for the past 2 years, and I haven't told my family, I haven't told my friends, because I don't think anybody will accept him and things like that. So she was basically asking how I overcame that. And I just basically answered her by saying that at the end of the day, how she feels about that person is more important. Her family may mock her, they may laugh at her, and then let's say she marries a tall person because that's for her family's approval. But at the end of it all, then you know, she may not get everything that she could have gotten from the person she genuinely loved. So are you willing to sacrifice that just based on what society thinks regarding the height technicalities and things like that? And also, I also remember becoming very angry with myself when I was dealing with his height. I was so angry with myself and just saying, but why is it like that? Why is society always, there should be a tall, dark, handsome man with a short woman? Like, why is height such an issue? And then I just brushed it off and I just pushed it to the side and said, at the end of the day, there's so many things to this person beyond their height. And yeah, I just pushed it to the side at the end of the day, and I'm so glad. I don't even see the height anymore, to be honest.
For my short brothers out there, all you need is confidence, Montuanga. Women don't even care about what you look like. They think they do, but they don't. Confidence, just that's so. Confidence. Pampa meno Montuanga, confidence yako alunshi. Oh, that's what you need. That's all. That's all. Nothing else. And just smell nice and look nice as well.
Yeah,
matters.
so it's something that we can both laugh about now. And he always tells me, I chose you because I know you're going to give me taller kids. And
no, like when people ask me, how did you get a woman who's taller than you? I was like, the secret is to keep her laughing, because when women laugh, they close their eyes. So the more she's laughing, the less of me she sees. I would say weigh the pros and cons, because sometimes you're not meant to be together, sometimes. But if you're both willing to fight for it, the thing is, you have to fight for it. Your marriage will not fix itself. You have to intentionally fight for it. You have to intentionally listen to what the other person wants. You have to intentionally make sacrifices, make compromises. That's marriage, that's a relationship. You can't, even if you call 10 counselors, if you are not doing the work, you're not going anywhere. If you don't do the work, you're not going anywhere. It's as simple as that.
And just to add on, as he said, like weigh the pros and cons. And if, of course, you have more good than bad, then maybe focus on the good and try to, you know, go running with that. Of course, people are not perfect, so people are going to mess up. Your partner is going to mess up, you are going to mess up. But also, if you look at your relationship and maybe you've been together 5 years, you need to ask yourself, can you take 5 more years of what you're currently going through? And if the answer is no, then maybe you need to relieve
so
yourselves.
You have to also
but if you, despite everything, you can take another 5 years, another 10 years, another 20 years with that person. Like what you're literally battling with right now is not worth losing. Then my advice would be go for it. Also involve God.
Oh yeah, that's a huge thing. Like you
involve
need to
God.
Really, really put God at the center of your marriage. If you don't,
Pray about it.
You will be having, you know, sometimes God gives you a certain level of calm that you don't even understand. So even certain arguments, you won't even be having them. To small things.
Yeah, you won't sweat the small stuff. Actually, that's another thing I'd like to tell a couple that's going through something.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
I don't think there's anything in marriage bigger than whatever you're going through right now. Because whatever you went through in dating, wow, it's way worse in marriage. And marriage is like, it's a no going back zone, especially if you don't believe in going your separate ways. If you believe in working things out, just imagine like how much worse it could get in marriage. And in marriage,
you can't go home.
You can't go, you can't go back home to mom or
your
anything
home is the
like
next
that.
room there, the bedroom. My name is Lunda.
My name is Chilekwa.
And this is how we met.
Oh no.
My name is Lunda.
My name is Chilekwa.
And this is how we met. Are you going to say it fast or slow?
Okay. Wait. And this is how we met. Okay. And this is how we met. But with excitement.
Okay, let's do it.
And this is how we met.
My name is Lunda.
My name is Chilekwa.
And this is how we met.
Is it